too strong. And SDA the board. Clark 1 for 4 in the early go. Fires. Too strong.
Caitlin Clark misses a shot. Just a miss. The kind of miss that happens to every single player in this league every single night, multiple times a game, no matter how good they are. And before the ball even hits the floor, before she's even had a chance to get music back and set up on defense, Stephanie White is already waving her toward the
be as great as anybody. She can be Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. She can be anybody. As long as she got Hey Honor over there as a coach, Mr. Krabs' daughter over there as a coach, and as long as she got that ball hog on her team that's messing up the whole team chemistry, we gonna keep losing, and we not winning the championship. So as long as that coach is over there, and as long as that ball hog keep doing the same thing she doing, Indiana Fever fans, Caitlin fans, y'all may as well get championships out of y'all heads. It's not happening. Listen, if Stephanie White keeps doing that gimmick she has going on over there, being weird, we are not winning anything. We'll be lucky to make it out of the...
Not a timeout, not a dead ball, not a natural stoppage where a coach quietly makes a rotation call music, because that's just what coaches do late in a quarter. This was immediate. This was a miss, followed by a hook, followed by Caitlin Clark music, walking straight to the sideline while the New York Liberty kept right on playing without so much as a pause in the action. Fever fans watching this game noticed it instantly music, because this has stopped being a one-off decision and started looking like an actual pattern, one that's now happened in back-to-back games against two very different opponents. There's a tweet going around right now that puts into words exactly what everybody watching this game felt in real time. And I want to read it out loud because honestly, it says it better than I could on my own. The Indiana Fever have somehow managed to turn Caitlin Clark music into a role player. Absolutely insane. 2 assists in the first half. And it's not because she suddenly forgot how to create. The ball has been taken out of her hands for the second game in a row. Too many possessions have Clark standing off ball or parked in the corner while Indiana tries to manufacture offense elsewhere. Why? I'm not going to pretend I know the reasoning, but I know this. This team is not better with Caitlin Clark watching the offense instead of running it. You have one of the most dangerous playmakers in basketball. Put the ball in her hands. This shouldn't be complicated.
Check out the best player in the league, but it sucks that she got a stupid coach and a ball hogging teammate.
Indiana looking for their first lead. Clark behind
picking them apart. Threes. Picking them apart. It's too easy. It's too easy. Look. Breaking them down. But her coach, Word Waldo, cures the cowardly dog. Like, what are we talking about? Hey Arnold sitting over there. Like she's pathetic, man. We need a new coach. Or Caitlin needs to go. This is pathetic. She is putting on MVP caliber play, but she got teammates that wants to hold the ball like they Michael Jeffrey Jordan or somebody. Like, this is nasty. She's setting people up, getting people open, all type of stuff, busting people.
2 assists in an entire first music half. And it is not just a cold shooting night skewing the stats sheet in a misleading way. Caitlin Clark averages over 8 assists a game this season. She is one of the best pure playmakers anywhere in basketball right now. Somebody defenses build entire scouting reports around specifically because of what she does with the ball in her hands. And for 2 straight games in 2 different cities against 2 different opponents, the ball simply has not been in her hands the way it needs to be for this offense to function the way it's designed to function.
Stephanie White is a bozo bonehead, man. Get Caitlin Clark the hell away from this clown-ass organization. We gotta get into this game, man. Y'all know Caitlin Clark played small forward for the entire first half of the game, all the way until about 4 minutes left in the third quarter when the Indiana Fever were down by 9. The girl was playing small forward. Aaliyah Boston brought the ball up the whole first 3.5 quarters. This is ridiculous. This is malpractice. Stephanie White should be fired.
If you watch where Clark is actually standing when Indiana runs its half-court sets, she is not at the top of the key initiating. She is not bringing the ball up the floor and reading the defense the way she has all season long. The way that made her a nightmare matchup for every single team on this schedule. She is parked in the corner. She is standing off ball, arms loose, watching somebody else try to create something out of nothing. While the single most dangerous playmaker on this roster just waits around for a catch-and-shoot look that may or may not ever come her way. That is not a system adjustment. That is a talented player getting benched inside her own offense while she is still technically standing on the floor in uniform.
Let them go do things that you're going, that's not a real good idea right now. Right? Because if you start to harness greatness, then they start to second guess what you want them to do.
And this is the difference from a real, actual great coach and then Stephanie White. Stephanie White has this thing. This is why I say she got all of the characteristics of a narcissist. Because Stephanie White wants to control, micromanage every single thing. And it was a clip going around when Caitlin played Toronto, I believe it was that game. And she crossed the girl up real bad. The girl went way, she started guarding her own teammate somewhere. And everybody was like, why didn't Caitlin take the three? And she was wide open. It goes back to that second guessing that Cheryl just talked about. Because every time Caitlin does something, who do you see in her ear on the sideline? Who do you see chasing her down trying to say something? Who do you see always on the sideline emoting, doing some type of weird stuff? Stephanie White. And I keep telling y'all, Stephanie White has been...
Let's rewind 2 games because none of this actually started against the Liberty. 2 nights earlier, the Fever were in Dallas taking on the Wings, and Clark had one of the rougher shooting nights of her entire season. 4 for 15 from the field, a cold, frustrating stretch by any measure. She still racked up assists in that specific game, still found teammates when she got the opportunity, but her overall role in the offense had already started shrinking well before that final buzzer sounded. Indiana lost that game 91-85. And in that same game, Kelsey Mitchell had to music completely take over, dropping 37 points and setting a brand new league record for consecutive 20-point performances in a single season.
Of course, Caitlin Clark, like I said, overall I thought she played pretty well, especially considering the circumstances. This was nifty. Right over the big on the inside. Not to mention, she had a nice step back 3 at one point in the game early. She got her shot going as the game went along because she didn't shoot the ball well to start it and then wound up shooting the ball much better. But this was a nice, nifty step back. Cash. Kelsey also went over 20 points again. That's routine at this point. Here doing it with a boogie move on Jonquel Jones. Woo! Got right.
Genuinely incredible individual performance on its own, and nobody watching this is trying to take anything away from her. She has been sensational for stretches of this entire season, and she absolutely deserves credit for elevating her game when her team needed her most. But there is a real meaningful difference between Mitchell getting hot organically inside a normal flowing team offense and Mitchell getting the ball 40 times a night specifically because the point guard who's supposed to be running the entire show has been quietly nudged out of her natural role. When Caitlin Clark isn't initiating possessions the way she's built to, the offense doesn't just lose a scorer. Music, it loses its rhythm, its pace, its ability to create advantages before the defense even finishes setting up in the half court. That, music, is exactly what has happened over these last 2 games, and it shows up in the box score every single time.
Pass the ball. Pass the ball. Look, Caitlin wide open. Clank. Pathetic. Well, let's watch it again one more time. Look, Caitlin's wide open. Nobody's on her. Look. This is pathetic. Yes, a rant is coming. Who does we have as a coach? Where is our coach? Because apparently she missing. This is pathetic. This is probably the worst job I've ever seen a coach do. And then, let's just listen. When the fans booed her, why did y'all stop? She literally deserved that. Y'all literally should start booing again. Why are you hating on Caitlin Clark? How you hating on the best player on the team and anybody else can do something, you fine with it. Caitlin do something, you all over throwing a hissy fit like a toddler.
This also isn't the first time Stephanie White has made a questionable in-game decision involving Clark's role on this team. Back in May Music, against the Portland Fire, White pulled Clark early in the first quarter of a game that was still very much winnable at that point. Indiana went on to lose that game by 16 points, a result that looked a whole lot worse once you consider the timing of that substitution. White explained afterward that it was about managing Clark's workload given her ongoing back concerns and taken completely on its own. That is a fair explanation for a coach to give. Music. Nobody wants to watch a young superstar get pushed through actual pain chasing a single regular season win in the middle of May. But when you start stacking these decisions up one after another across an entire season, a pattern begins forming that gets a lot harder to explain away using music, injury caution alone, especially during stretches where Clark looks completely healthy on the floor. I mean, it's consistency, right, for us.
It's consistency, right, for us. I thought that there were some moments, where we made them uncomfortable. Not enough. When we were up into the ball pressure, and I thought we got some really good things on the defensive end. And then there were lapses that caused fouls, and into free throws, lapses that allowed offensive rebounds, lapses that allowed, soft switches into cuts, lapses on the offensive end where we didn't need the ball, we didn't find the right play, didn't find the right pass. Look, you think if you shoot 51%, 46% from the three, and you make your free throws, but more than anything, I think this is just an opportunity for us to keep learning, how much of a sense of urgency you have to play with every single possession. This is playoff basketball right now. It's playoff basketball, and there has to be an urgency every single possession.
After the loss to the Liberty, White faced reporters and talked like she often does in these situations about rotations, music, about spacing the offense out properly, about making sure the ball moves and everybody on the roster gets their fair share of touches. All reasonable sounding things to say out loud in a post-game press conference. But reasonable sounding words in a press room don't change what fans actually watched happen live on the floor in real time. You can talk about ball movement and equal touches all you want in front of a microphone. It still doesn't explain 2 assists in an entire half from the best pure passer on this roster. And it definitely doesn't explain her standing quietly in the corner while somebody else tries to manufacture offense completely from scratch. Here's what makes this whole situation so frustrating for Fever fans watching at home, music, night after night. Caitlin Clark is not just a good player who happens to score a lot of points. She is the single player this entire roster has been built around from the music ground up. She is the one every opposing coaching staff game plans for before every single game on the schedule. She is the one who draws double teams the moment she crosses half court, who forces help defenders to leave shooters open on the perimeter, who creates the exact spacing that makes everybody else's job dramatically easier just by having the ball in her hands. When you take the ball away from her for 2 straight games, you are not simplifying the offense or making it more balanced. You are removing this team's single biggest structural advantage over literally every opponent left on this schedule.
This is ridiculous. Caitlin Clark forced the jack up shots in the first 5 seconds of the shot clock because she knows, God forbid, if she passes the ball to anybody, it's impossible for her to get the ball back at any point in a given possession. It's ridiculous. Bro, Stephanie White played Aaliyah Boston at point guard for 3.5 quarters. I'm ready to lose my mind, bro. We got the best point guard in the league. Why is our center playing point guard? Meanwhile, Jonquel Jones was punishing her ass the whole first half. This is crazy, man. This is crazy, bro. Like, Kelsey Mitchell kept her streak going. That's all that matters around here, right? Kelsey Mitchell gets her streak. Yeah, that's all that matters. Indiana Fever lose again. Coaching blunder. This was ridiculous, man. Caitlin Clark.
Go back just a couple of weeks and look at what this exact same roster looked like when Clark was actually allowed to run things her way against this same New York Liberty team back on August 11th. Clark finished with 22 points and 10 assists. Her 10th double-double of the entire season, and Indiana absolutely blew New York out 106-92 on their own home floor. That result was not an accident, and it was not garbage time padding. That was Clark controlling the tempo of the entire game, finding shooters in rhythm possession after possession and putting real sustained pressure on the defense because the ball was in her hands and the offense was actually built around her instincts, music, as a player. Now, compare that game directly to the last 2 where the ball has been steadily moving away from her, where she's being parked off to the side for long stretches, and where the results have been 2 straight losses in a row. The contrast could not be more obvious if somebody drew it up on a whiteboard specifically to prove a point.